Me when Gizmo knocked over my bike.
Boy, let me tell you something. I'm going to play this for y'all first, and then we'll start the episode proper. Now, if y'all don't know, because I really couldn't tell you this immediately myself, this is House of Pain.
I was going to say House of Pain, right?
Yeah.
I am really disappointed, man. I mean, lying and stealing? What else are you doing?
Me when Gizmo knocked over my bike.
Boy, let me tell you something. That sounded like that's really what you wanted to do. Now, what did y'all think about that scene? Episode 14, welcome to Kingz After Dark, by the way. You know, hit the socials, all that fun jazz. Anywho.
It was intense. For me, you know, the whole... I don't know. I forget exactly what the hierarchy, who was who exactly in that show. It's been a while since I've seen that show. But were those the grandparents in the background?
I think they're meant to be grandparents. I couldn't begin to tell you.
Yeah.
I know those characters from the Medea plays, but I do not know House of Pain that well.
Right.
But whoever they are, whatever, right?
Yeah. I was very distracted by what they were trying to do on top of the serious scene that was happening in the sitcom. So, I mean, that's probably just sitcom funniness, them trying to make another part of it funny and interesting, but I don't know.
It was basically the parents were leaving because they didn't want to have to deal with the awkwardness of the fight going on.
Which is understood, yeah.
Right. I was distracted by that and throughout a lot of it. That was a little annoying to me because I was trying to actually like feel what I needed to feel in that moment.
Yeah,
but
it's like takes you out of the... you can't be in both places at once.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I thought they were trying to find ways to be around the room while still listening, and then it turned out they were actually leaving, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's not a very funny punchline. And I also felt like it was an unnecessary distraction, but I feel like we're really dancing around
the problem. That was going to be my lead into what I was going to actually get into talking about, which I feel like that's a serious topic.
It is. Because I think me and you are on the same line.
Yeah.
I think y'all are getting to the heart of my problem with this scene. I want to hear what you believe there's a reason I want to hear this from you, but
what do you mean by what I believe about
it was interesting you said whatever you believe that we're dancing around right now.
Oh, around like the fact the scene was, I don't know, it felt like it was trying to address like issues in a heartfelt way. My reaction to it, my gut reaction to it was that it seemed a little bit thoughtlessly constructed, and the possibly a little racist, but I really don't know enough about the situation or anything going on in that to make that judgment.
What makes
it seemed like it might have been stereotyping characters, but I don't.
I will say it is an issue that comes up in the Black household quite a bit. So for anybody who doesn't know what House of Pain is a spinoff series that comes from the Medea plays. Medea being the Tyler, you would know the name Tyler Perry. It's almost impossible not to know that name Tyler Perry. He's up there with Oprah at this point. Has been in a lot of hot water with Oprah lately, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, as far as up there with Oprah, meaning just like much
billionaire black owned entertainment mogul type deal. He's up there. He's also like really buddy with Oprah, and they've been in a lot of hot water with Taraji P. Henson. Just given like treatment of the cast of Color Purple, but that's neither here nor there. House of Pain spinoff series from the Medea plays. Medea plays got stupid popular mid-aughts, crazy popular. I say that to someone who loves the Medea plays. I love the Medea plays. They're so fucking funny. They're really great. They hit. It's really cool to see a black-owned entertainment business do black created stories for black people. Super cool, super relatable, really fun. That spawns into movies and him getting his own like Hollywood studio and now doing his own stage plays, his own movies, his own TV shows. I think that's like the second TV show they make. I think Meet the Browns was the first one.
That's a good one.
As well as like other franchises, right? That is how we get to House of Pain. I do not know the story of House of Pain. I have never cared to sit down and watch House of Pain. I care about the Tyler Perry plays. The movies are okay. They made movie adaptations of the plays. They were okay. And then it started getting to TV shows. And honestly, at that point, for no reason other than I just don't care for sitcoms like that in a lot of cases. So I don't know a lot about House of Pain, but what that scene tried to do, and all of y'all picked up on it, so I'm really glad it's not just me. That scene is trying to convey a very serious topic that happens. And the topic of your son going into adolescence and hanging with the wrong crowd to feel some kind of cool that's a pretty universal topic. But the topic of coming from a broken home in which the mother's not even there, the dad has made like stupid mistakes. It is like that. I can't say whether or not that happens in other households. In Black households, that happens quite a bit. Not necessarily to every child, but there's usually like one child.
It definitely happens in other households because, well, it happens in households that I've seen.
Yeah.
I had issues in my household, but not like that.
Right.
It's very different.
Right. The point being is it's a pretty heavy topic that's meant to be very relatable to honestly pretty timeless. It's been an issue for many decades, but a pretty big thing, especially in increasing rise in single parent households, broken households, and all that fun shit. Right now, once again, y'all caught on this immediately and y'all brought it up immediately. And I'm so glad y'all did, because I watched that, obviously scrolling through TikTok, see it come up. Like immediate same thought of like, this is a really heavy topic. Like the topic of the sins of the father does have an effect on the child. Like the father, you're not only dealing with the consequences of your actions. Unfortunately, now your children have to deal with the consequences of your actions. And like, there's a shame that comes with that. There's a regret that comes with that. There is unbridled like feelings and emotions, and sometimes expressed as anger and rage that comes out of that you as the parent, you can't be upset that the things that you've done now affect your kids, and it may embarrass you, but you now have to deal with that and navigate it. Right. And that's a really heavy topic to deal with, especially in a show format.
Like House of Pain specifically.
Why won't you let the tension raise? Why do you refuse to let the tension rise?
There's got to be something funny every 5 seconds.
Every 5 seconds.
Just in case your audience isn't getting into the drama. And
the audience is realizing that this is a serious topic and it's a little uncomfortable. Better make sure they laugh so that they don't click away.
Flip the channel.
Like, what are we doing, bro? Like, and I can't say that this happens throughout the whole show. I don't know. I don't watch House of Pain. But I do notice that happens quite a bit in a lot of Tyler Perry's media. And it happens quite a bit in a lot of other media, especially modern day sitcoms. That's been happening, at least in the stuff that I've seen. If it happens more, if it doesn't happen, someone can tell me I'm wrong. I will absolutely accept that. Just based on the stuff that I see from time to time, I see this a lot of anytime a sitcom even approaches a pretty serious topic, it won't let the moment be serious. Like, it's almost like it really cannot allow the audience to feel any kind of uncomfortable. Even if it will make a very poignant, like impact if it did. And it made me weirdly upset because I was reading through the comments on this, right? Once again, this is on TikTok. I was reading through the comments, and people clearly they love the show. People love the show. They think, and there was a lot of people who were like, "Oh, that couple cracks me up so much," talking about the shenanigans that's going on, punctuating this fucking back and forth between a father and his son, right? And it's like, I'm sitting here like, well, clearly people like it. My biggest gripe with it is that it's not going to go down in history. Is that it's going to be forgotten because it's never going to make that emotional impact. It's never going to grip the heart the way old shows used to be able to. And I know this is going to sound like back in my day type bullshit, but it really kind of was that. Like, I'm assuming y'all are familiar with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Dude, I was literally about to say, if you were going to pause, I was literally about to say, I love the way the Fresh Prince did it when
I'm going to let you tell this because you know exactly what I'm about to say.
Yes.
Say it. Go for it.
That scene when Will's dad comes in after being non-existent in his life, and I'm fuzzing a little bit on the whole story.
The dad comes back into town. He rolls back in, and he's done this a couple times to Will. He's like rolled in. Okay. He's been a complete Rolling Stone. He's absent from most of Will's life. Will's mom is a single mother, raises him on his own. He'll come rolling in, and he'll come in playing the White Knight. And he'll come in, and he'll tell all these promises to Will of like, yeah, me and you, we're gonna go out. We're gonna go on these trips. And I'm gonna be a real dad for you, and then we're gonna go yada yada yada. And he'll do this, and then he'll dip and disappear again, and that'll just be it.
Mm-hmm. Gone, no words.
Gone, no words.
Nothing.
This spawns one of the heaviest, and I'm talking in all of like media history, one of the heaviest ending scenes ever seen in a sitcom.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I'm almost tearing up.
I'm doing the same right now.
Can we watch it again? We're
honestly,
cry.
You know what? Yes.
But like,
yes.
Oh my God.
I need y'all to watch this.
It pops up every once in a while on my timeline, and every time it does, I have to sit and watch it. And I swear, I like either I tear up and a couple tears fall, or like my mood just like shifts entirely.
Because it's so fucking powerful. Have y'all seen Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
I haven't. Well,
y'all
I haven't
have
seen
not.
most television.
And it's a good chance y'all have not seen this clip. I'm gonna keep in mind that clip I just played for y'all, and then when I find this, compare that to this scene coming up.
Will is not a coat that you hang in the closet, then pick it up when you're ready to wear it. His life goes on. He's not supposed to be here for you. You're supposed to be here for him. You get off my back. You think I want this? It just happened.
I had 14 great birthdays without him. He never even sent me a damn card. To hell with him!
How come he don't want me, man?
That's how you do that kind of fucking scene, man.
It's so good.
Like, I don't even come from a broken household. Like, my dad was in my life my whole fucking life. Like, but the way you feel like, and don't get me wrong, Fresh Prince is a comedy. By and large, it's a comedy. But it, just like a lot of sitcoms, it used that comedy and it used that primetime slot to tell very compelling narratives, but it also used that time slot to tell some of the harder hitting and harder to confront topics that come up. And especially for especially for black youth, the idea of your dad never being there and it's a constant parade of empty promises, right? There was no DJ Jazzy Jeff coming through being a fucking moron. Every time he said a line, someone had to walk through and do something funny. Carlton and Ashley weren't sneaking around the corner and the camera made sure that you saw that they were trying to butt in and hear what's going on. Like, there was none of that. Just Will, his dad leaves, Will and Phil. That's it. And that scene will go down in fucking history. It already has. This happened in the fucking early 90s, I think. I'm not entirely certain when this particular episode aired, but it was way back when, if I wasn't a kid, I wasn't even born yet when this happened. Like, it's an old one, but it will always and forever be remembered. We're fucking 30 years past that now. And it will always be remembered. And it's like in the brain, never leaving, rent-free almost. Like, anytime Fresh Prince comes up, this is one of the when the conversation of why was Fresh Prince so great, this is one that will always come up. Any list of top 100 greatest moments in TV history comes up, this is always on the list because it is that poignant, it is that impactful, right? And that's why I'm so bothered by that scene from House of Pain. You had an opportunity to sell a point and sell a very heavy-hitting topic and completely let it fall flat.
Because that was It was really well acted too.
Yeah.
Like, just take the laugh tracks out.
Just take the fucking laugh tracks out. Take the stupidity going on in the background. Like, it heated me so much in a way that, like, at first I was just like kind of irked by it, and then I just kept thinking about it, and I kept getting angrier. And I was like, "Come on, bro!"
See, they with the House of Pain one, they tried to hit it heavy at the end.
They tried
after they left.
Yeah,
but it's like at that point
you've cut
taken
out
the wind out of the sails of the scene. Like you didn't...
every time you tried to take the thread and stretch it, someone has to come in and cut it.
They literally had to pause. You could see it on the actors' faces. They paused the conversation.
So I have to
these
stand
two
here.
people are just running around the back room talking about get the band,
get the band, hurry up, get the mayonnaise. Don't forget the mayonnaise. We out. Bye. Like,
they're like, okay, finally we have time to do it. But by that point, it was
all the tension. There was no tension buildup because every time you tried to build tension, you immediately cut the tension so that by the time you hit your crescendo and you hit the moment where, I don't know what the fuck dude's name is, but he grabs Malik by his shirt, which is supposed to be a really heavy moment of this man just lost his temper at his son. There's nothing there for me to care about. There's nothing for me to care about there. And it's like, come on, dog. So I'm like, I really hope this is not a problem, like a widespread problem with modern sitcoms. Because not that I care that much, but it's like it's feeding into.
Well, you can use humor to broach serious topics.
Of course.
I think there are several examples of it being really done really well in the last, last 10, 20 years. Like BoJack Horseman, for example.
BoJack Horseman's another good one I was just going over today.
Yeah. I haven't seen a ton of it, but I do know that it's like deals with some real heavy
I
shit.
learned about 17 minutes today.
I don't know.
So,
yeah.
Do you know about 17 minutes?
That episode?
Yeah.
BoJack?
I learned
watched
about
the
it.
whole series. And
Did you?
I'm pretty sure
you know 17 minutes.
Yes.
You know, I can't think of how to say her name. It's a dual name. The first name starts with S. Stephanie Ann? Stacey Ann?
Oh, shoot. I was going to say, not his mom.
No. The girl, the younger girl.
His ghost wife.
No, not the ghost wife. Or maybe.
Is it the younger sister?
It might be the younger sister. It's a girl he goes on a bender with. I don't. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
Minor spoilers for BoJack Horseman. If you've never seen it, I'm going to talk about a series I've never really seen, but to illustrate this point. So there's a thing in the BoJack Horseman community called 17 minutes, and it's always brought up as this point of like BoJack Horseman is not your. It was brought up about the fact that it started with a TikTok of just some girl acting out, going, "Hey, I'm a person, not a good person, and I'm here to like basically having to go is like the literary people's ability to like understand literary devices has like fallen so much that you literally have to spoon feed the idea of this is a good person, this is a bad person. We don't like the bad person because they do bad things to all the other people and the good person. The good person tries to stop the bad person, and therefore we like the good person because people are fucking weird. And you get, that's when you start getting your Harley Quinns and Joker wannabe. I want a romance like Harley and Joker. Ugh, come the fuck on, bro.
No, you don't.
But BoJack Horseman is definitely one of those examples of, because he's the protagonist, people don't understand that you're not always supposed to root for the protagonist. You can be a protagonist. You can even be the narrator. It's called an unreliable narrator. BoJack Horseman is not a good person. BoJack Horseman has trauma. BoJack Horseman is a victim to certain circumstances in his life. BoJack Horseman is not the continual victim. He's quite literally the villain in his own story.
So he's an anti-hero?
No.
Not even that.
No, he's just a villain. Oh. He's just a bad person.
Okay.
There's no redeeming quality. Anti-heroes are loose cannon, chip on the shoulder. They might do things in a way that's goes against most hero codes, but they have a reason why they're doing it, and they're usually still fighting for justice to some capacity. The most quintessential like anti-hero ever is Jason Todd. Who does he become in Batman?
Oh, I don't.
Yes, Red Hood.
I was like, I would not know.
Really? Yeah, fair enough.
I don't.
Yeah,
do
Red Hood.
like
So
that.
Jason Todd Red Hood is one of the most quintessential anti-heroes out there. Like he's completely against Batman's like no killing rule, moral code, has no qualms with beating the fucking shit out of people, but he's still like taking care of villains, right?
The Punisher.
Punisher, the other, actually probably the quintessential. Red Hood is probably the second one. But
you can tell that he's the quintessential because his symbol's always on the back of those trucks of real badass.
yeah, those real red-blooded Americans. Punisher, same deal. He's going after people that are objectively bad people, and he does not like to hurt innocent people. His moral code and compass might be a little fucked, but generally speaking, he's attempting to do the right thing in the most like unnecessarily brutal way possible. BoJack Horseman is just an asshole. BoJack Horseman, to get to the point of this, once again, spoilers, if you have not watched BoJack Horseman and have interest in watching it, you should not listen past this point. This is your last chance to get past it. BoJack Horseman invited a girl who was going through sobriety to get off hard drugs and substance abuse to a fucking bender. He just literally calls her up and goes, want to go on a bender with me? She immediately accepts and goes. She has an overdose. And instead of calling for fucking help, he gets out of Dodge, calls from her phone to his phone to make his 2-minute call, leaves and just sits out in the parking lot for 17 minutes to make it seem like he wasn't on the spot because he didn't want to be involved with her death.
That's one thing. But the way that it's revealed is a whole.
Then the reveal is a
thing.
whole different thing.
Because they don't reveal that he actually did all of that until like the next season.
Because I was going to say, they set him up. They set the whole season up, from my understanding. Actually, you're better to talk about this.
Yeah, like, again, it's been a minute since I went on this whole 1 year's worth of binging all of these shows. So some of it is a blur to me.
I will attempt to fill in with what I ended up reading about today.
Yeah, but like BoJack Horseman was such a good show. I don't think it's talked about as much anymore because it was a while ago when they, I don't know if they canceled it or if they just ended it shorter
I think it
than
ended.
they expected.
I think there was an ending, but I don't know if that was due to
They did put a
cancellation
cap
or
on
not.
it, but I think they wanted to have more.
Yeah.
And Netflix was like, nope, you're going to be done after X season.
Netflix
And
did the
then
Netflix thing.
And they had to be like, okay, well, we have to end it. Somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
But the way that and I think this kind of happens with all of the BoJack Horseman arcs, I guess you could call them arcs. It kind of subverts your expectations a lot of times, where it's like, okay, you see a thing and you don't know how that thing happens until either the end of the season where they slowly break down, okay, these are the events that led to this being what it is, or like literally the beginning of the next season, which launches that whole season's theme or something. And that's kind of how the whole show is, because they show you one thing at the very beginning of it and it's like, okay, now you're going to learn about the actual character of the sitcom of the show and his life, and then how it all kind of wraps around. But that specific arc and season was wild, because the whole time BoJack is kind of painted as like this, like, oh yeah, like you see the binge happen, but then it's also like, okay, they don't really show you that he waited, he did this call. It's just like, okay, they did the binge, and then all of a sudden he wakes up. Yeah. And then it's like, she's like dead.
Yeah. My understanding is that they painted as if she had the overdose unbeknownst to him. That he had no idea she was overdosing until, and then the whole 2-minute call thing and all that fun shit.
Right. All these episodes happen in between. And you're just like, okay, they went on a binge, blacked out, next scene, he's waking up or something. And
it very much made her it made the girl who died more complicit in her death than what you end up finding out about it.
Yeah.
It's very much this is a very unfortunate circumstance. Yes, was BoJack bad for like having this girl out there with him on this bender? Of course, but she's still an adult. She can make her own choices. Her dying, you can't attribute to BoJack. That is how it's set up.
And then all the episodes leading up to you finding out show him having these mental breakdowns and him having to deal with either he's trying to shut out what he did, and that's causing all of that mental trauma inside of him, because he knows he's the reason why she didn't get the help she needed in that moment, and he's the reason he she even was in that position in the first place.
Yeah.
But he's trying to block all of that out for all these episodes, and it's seeping into his life and causing his life to just
Crumble
plummet.
around him. Yeah.
It's crumbling, and he doesn't know how to deal with it because he knows if he accepts the fact that he did this, that makes him a bad person.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to be a bad person, but no matter what he does, he is. And every decision he makes
winds up being terrible for somebody else involved.
Yes, and he feels tainted, but he doesn't want to admit that he's tainted, because if he does, then everything that everybody says about him is true.
Yeah.
And it's so good. It's been so long since I've seen it and like reminisced on it, but there are so many retrospectives. Like there's some really good BoJack Horseman retrospectives on YouTube by some creators.
I was gonna say I definitely plan on watching some. Like,
yeah,
I've had like a minor interest in BoJack. I might end up watching BoJack Horseman, but I'm not certain when that'll end up happening.
Yeah, like I'd say because it's like about what 5 or so seasons long?
I want to say I can only assume 5th. It's fun. There's a comment that was literally like, the showrunner literally had to write the 5th season to remind the goddamn rabid fans that BoJack's not a good person.
Yeah.
You should not be trying to emulate BoJack. You should not be fucking relating to BoJack.
No.
You should believe that BoJack is a terrible man.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know in any part of the whole show's running where I would look at that character and say, I want to be him.
The Fight Club list of
yeah.
If this is their favorite piece
If
of
this
media.
is your favorite, if this is your most related piece of media, then you might have issues.
Yeah.
You missed the point of the media itself.
What is the
Right.
Tumblr? What is the Tumblr post? The full list. That's
I feel like I've seen this, but it's been a long time.
it's Fight Club.
Fight Club, The Joker, probably.
The Joker's probably in there at some point.
I think we'll need to find that. If you could find it out, that would be great.
But yeah, if you're just wanting to get like pretty much a full-on breakdown of the whole of BoJack Horseman, I'll link it or send you the links when I go and find it. But like, there's a couple videos that are each maybe like an hour 30 minutes long, breaking down each season. Pretty much.
Okay.
And they're so good because they get into everything, and it's like, oh wow, okay. Even after watching it, I was looking at that and I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. Like, oh, okay, they were dealing with this part of trauma, this mental illness, this, that, and the other thing. It's so good.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I feel like I say that phrase a lot, but it's crazy that there's multiple times in this series in which, and it's definitely exemplary of an issue with media literacy and understanding what media tropes and plot devices is amongst like the general fans. Because there's multiple times in BoJack Horseman where a character literally, they are looking at BoJack, but they're talking to the screen, literally laying out why you should not be relating to BoJack and why you should stop saying BoJack is a good person. Like, there's a person, so that thing I said earlier of BoJack may have traumas and is a victim to his past, but does not make him the victim of this whole story, is literally told out to the audience in a single monologue by a character that's speaking to BoJack. And that's not the first, like, there's at least 3, as someone who doesn't watch BoJack Horseman, there's at least 3 moments like that I can think of, just because they're constantly, like, they're so prevalent and so important to keep putting out there that they get shared so much that it's come across my feed that way. Like, it's nuts. Did you want to find that?
Yeah, Breaking Bad, Fight Club, Rick and Morty, Clockwork Orange, and The Catcher in the Rye.
Who the fuck is related to Clockwork Orange?
I don't know anything about Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange is the horror movie from the 80s, maybe the 70s.
Is it horror? It's like psychological.
It's like a psychological thriller. It involves a group of dudes dressed in a really funny kind of way, like terrorizing a family, and I'm fairly certain they rape a woman.
Oh,
They're sort of like gangsters. They just go out and like beat people to death.
Yeah. Either way, they're so quintessentially villains that I don't understand anyone who would relate to them.
I guess that would make it even more concerning if someone
Yeah,
was like,
I
that's
get
my
it.
favorite.
You know what? Yeah, I can see it being someone's favorite film. Like, what is the list actually titled?
Yeah, favorite film.
Oh, it's just
maybe
a
not.
post. The full quote is, Breaking Bad, Fight Club, Rick and Morty, Clockwork Orange, and The Catcher in the Rye are all arguably good things. But for Man says they are his favorite book, movie, TV show, run.
I disagree with the premise, but
I would say favorite would be okay, maybe not most relatable.
did y'all not see that?
Yeah,
Like,
that
I thought I saw that
because
but
it lit up our lit room.
yeah.
Oh,
I thought
it's
there
the
was something
thunder.
wrong with
Yeah.
Izzy.
I was about to say, like, no one reacted to like what just happened, and it seemed like someone just flashed a flashlight into my.
It did. Well, I was
My
looking
basement.
at Izzy and I was like, "Why is he electric?" And then I turned my head, and the light was still coming through the window. That was crazy.
Yeah, weather's going fucking nuts here in Michigan, and it's gonna be fun figuring out
Well,
how
the
to.
implication of the post is that like that can be your favorite piece of media, clearly, but the true crux of the issue is if you are idolizing and misunderstanding that person without being able to see their flaws or the main character, then that is not good.
That's what I mean by the wording. I don't agree with that, but if the premise is that, then I will agree.
Well, there's a reason. There's multiple posts, so it's like I'm confused by this.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The full meme is longer. We don't have to.
No. Yeah. But yeah, so BoJack Horseman. So to tie this back in, these are media that use humor to some degree. But even then, with BoJack Horseman, it doesn't continuously undercut the moments in which the audience really needs to feel what's going on with unnecessary humor, especially not fucking gag humor. And that still leads me back around. There's multiple moments in Fresh Prince in which this happens. There's a time when Will is talking a gun out of Carlton's hand. There's a time when Will has to explain to Carlton what it means to be black in America. Just because you've been in a sheltered society for so long does not mean you get to escape what it means to have black skin, especially in 1990s and 1980s America. Like there's multiple times that happens in Fresh Prince. There's a bunch of other like older like black sitcoms. Sitcoms in general do this, but in particular, in my experience, black sitcoms, Family Matters have tackled these issues. Hang with Mr. Cooper has tackled these issues. Living Single has tackled like a lot of important issues, and which are quintessential fucking comedies. Like Family Matters is where you get Steve Urkel. Like the nasally,
Did I
super
do
short,
that?
did I do that? Like that guy. That show is a quintessential, like it is essentially a comedy, but when it tackled the episode of the Winslow's son, the oldest son, getting pulled over by cops and harassed by cops for just being black in a nice neighborhood and driving an okay car. They tackle that issue, and it's not continuously punctuated. By the way, his dad is a police chief. And it not only tackles the idea of getting pulled over while black in America, way back before like social media picked it up again. It also tackled the problem with nepotism, perceived nepotism, and like institutionalized racism. Like it tackles that whole thing, and it does it without constantly undercutting it with the humor that, the show is probably known for well enough. It's the main element of the show, but you don't need to undercut these incredibly serious moments with that humor. Sometimes letting the humor go is the best thing you can do for a scene.
Yeah, well, yeah, they didn't let the tension build up. It was constantly. Now is not the time to show off this quirky couple and
this quirky couple that you see literally every episode.
Yeah, true.
Like now is not the time. And once again, people clearly love it. Like I don't think it's anything. I'm not saying it's like the worst thing I've ever seen. I think my biggest issue is that I know it won't be remembered because no one's ever going to have. You're never going to have that emotional impact that you so easily could have had by, okay, you want this gag. We get it. You want the gag. Like you've introduced this new daughter, which is a crazy plot thread to have of, I have an older daughter who has the same name as my youngest daughter. And it's like, bro, the fuck are we doing? Okay, you want to have that going on. There's the humor of that. There's the whole, like, I'm going back to bed. No, you're not. Come back in here. You start the conversation. And when it's clear that this is going to be a conversation about the heavy theme of the episode, which apparently was like, it seems pretty like prevalent that this is where it started before this, right? So, okay, we need to talk about you hanging with this crowd. Do the gag. Get them in. They come in. They do the whole thing. They do the whole mayonnaise bit. They get all the bags out. They go, we're going here. Why did they explain where they were going? Wait, what was the point of them explaining that whole deal? We got a whole hotel set up just in time for us, so we can get the hell out of Dodge.
We've been paying for the hotel like you've been paying for an apartment just in case one of these kids goes off the wall.
Like, you didn't even need to explain all of that, but okay, explain all of it. Do your deuces and pieces and shit, and get the fuck. To have him talk about my mother being a crackhead and then make a crack joke? What are we doing? Like, what are we actually fucking doing? But get the fucking joke out of the way and then let the scene play. Let the scene ride on its own. Mm-hmm. And like that scene will go down in fucking television history. But can't let audiences be uncomfortable. And I get the strong feeling that the problem is, and this is just speculation on my part, the problem is the fight between the fact that there's just multiple generations that are all watching the same media together now. Is that as new media comes out and new generations are getting into media, just like with the job force, old generations are not leaving. And especially with a technology that's only been around in this form for like maybe 40 some odd years, you're trying to balance the interests of like basically 80 to 90 years worth of people. Or we'll say like 60 to 70. 60 to 70 years worth of people. And you're trying so hard to like have this like point that is very relevant, because at the end of the day, you're kind of looking at the son as a sympathetic character. The scene is set up to view the son as a sympathetic character of this boy is clearly going through something, and he's going through traumas brought about not by his own actions, but the actions of his father before he was even born. But you can't do that. You can't balance that and relate with that audience when you're also trying not to make the audience who would be responsible for that shit not feel uncomfortable. Complete speculation on my part. I feel like that's the problem. The problem is that
I don't know. I feel like you can show both sides of it and not have either one be the total villain.
I think if they had let the scene ride, that would have been it.
So you think that the reason that they didn't let the scene ride was because they didn't want to make either generation seem like the bad guy?
I think they didn't want to make the older generation seem like the bad guy. And that's basically what it is. Because this is a conversation of you as a parent, the choices you make do have consequences on your children. That if I could boil that scene down to something, it is you as a parent, the things you have chosen to do. I can't even fucking speak anymore. The things you have chosen to do, whether or not that you are past those points or whether they're even your fault, is that sometimes the things you do will actually affect your children, which is a point that should easily have been made without anyone feeling offended. But I think the showrunner understands that, like with older generations, because the conversation of generational trauma brought about by like mistakes by parents is a big topic, and it's one that's being talked about now. Like it's a big topic of I'm fucked up because my parents fucked me up, and I understand that they're fucked up because their parents fucked them up, but it hasn't stopped me from being fucked up as a child. And at the end of the day, once again, if I could boil that scene down to something, it is. And once again, this is without even seeing the rest of the episode. I don't know. I really don't. I'm being 100% honest. I don't know where all of this goes or where it comes from. But just based off that clip alone, it really does come down to it is understandable that you make a mistake, but you also have to own that that will have consequences outside of just yourself. And knowing some of the older people that I know, I'm not going to say that it is reasonable. But we also know that there's a lot of shows where shit will not. We just had a conversation about things that wouldn't fly on TV anymore. And it's not necessarily because it is expected that people wouldn't be able to take it. It is because as a TV exec, as a network, you have to balance out what can be expected. And if we're being particularly honest, we've heard, you can see how quickly older generations can get offended by shit if they believe that they're being told that they were wrong for something.
Yeah. I don't see it in this case, but I think to me, it smells more just like bad writing, but
which also that's probably more likely.
But I do get what you're getting at, though. I just don't see it in this case.
Yeah,
but
that's why I said complete speculation on my part. That may or may not. I would prefer it actually is that, because at least I can give the writer something. But if it's not that, it really could just be like you just don't understand that just because you're a comedy doesn't mean you have to be a comedy 100% of the time. Sometimes you can drop the comedy to make a point more
It could have been that they were gonna play it serious, and then some executive was like, "We need to make this funny."
It is also absolutely the possibility, or like a show, and it was like, "Where's the jokes?"
And so then they just kind of shoehorned the comedy in there.
My problem with that, well, I mean, it's very possible, I guess, because the thing is, it's got me thinking down and trying to think of like when the Medea plays did something very serious. Because remember, this is still owned by Tyler Perry, the guy who started this empire, still owns this whole deal. And I'm really curious, but I've noticed that with a lot of his shows nowadays, like this same thing happens. Of
So
like,
it could just be kind of his style.
I think it's just his style, and that's
gag.
also very unfortunate. Or at least that's the style he's what's been passed on, that this was the lesson that everybody took away from his legacy of it always has to be funny all the time, 100%. And it's like, no, it don't. No, it don't. Yeah. Even in the plays, there were a lot of times where like it was a lot more condensed and you didn't have as much time because it's a stage play. You don't have as much time to sit on those moments before you have to move on to the next thing. But those moments were still discreet of like, this is a pretty heavy, serious topic. Even the joke character, Medea, it is a 6 foot something tall man in a dress with gigantic fake tits. Like, really funny character, but he always played those scenes at least as straight as you possibly can in that moment of if he's making a point, he keeps the voice, but he drops the humor. And he's not always trying to make a joke out of it.
I didn't watch all of like the plays specifically. I was more of a person. Maybe, I don't know how old the plays were.
I was gonna say you were definitely like you weren't too young. They were pretty like family friendly, but you were definitely younger than the intended audience. I was by that point. I was in like my early to mid teens when they started coming out. So you were definitely like on the younger edge of would have been watching them.
Yeah, like I remember some of the movies pretty well. And I remember enjoying them and the messages that they had because of those moments where, you know, Medea would buck up, just sit like the main characters
everyone down
and literally lay out a beautiful lesson.
Yeah, here's what we gonna do. Here's what we not gonna do. This is
why we do it and why it's important in society today to think this way and to do this in this given situation.
Yeah.
And then, you know, after 2-3 minutes of that serious talk, crack a joke,
get back on with the plot.
Back with
like, here's our resolution. Let's get on with it. Right. So it's like clearly Tyler knows how to do this type of shit. I don't know how much involvement he has with the writing process. I'm sure he doesn't have a ton, being, you know, the CEO mogul of this empire now.
Probably not much
anymore. Right? So I'm sure there's a writing team, but come on, like I can't imagine you're looking at these shows and going, or actually I guess I can, of him like seeing what's coming out and going, yep, that's exactly what I want out of my shows and my IPs and properties. But who knows? That turned into way longer of a rant than I thought it would.
Yeah.
So AI.
And no, that's not a joke. I'm actually going to talk about AI for a quick second.
We're hoping it's a quick second.
We're
collectively.
Have you heard about the AI singularity? Like, AI technology is advancing so fast that we're going to hit a point where it doubles every second, and then every half second, and then every half millisecond.
Jeez.
Like, what does it become at that point?
Its own thing, something on sci-fi. I mean, they said the same thing about like technology though, which I guess it technically is still true. But they were like, yeah, technology advances at an exponential rate. Basically, the speed of which technology advances is like doubling every 10 years. But not long after I learned about that, it was also like, actually, there's a plateau that eventually hits that.
Because, I mean, they're talking about AI that can modify itself, basically.
Right.
So imagine an AI that can improve itself.
Can AI make itself more efficient?
Probably.
That's a real cool pattern that we've seen in how AI is being developed. When it hits that singularity, if it'll hit that singularity, I don't think it's predictive, though.
Yeah.
And also, that would be pretty cool.
It would be kind of sweet. At this point, like, the humans ain't doing fucking great, so may as well let them try.
Yeah.
Like, I have full circled on the fear of AI to the, hey, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Let's give the AI overlords a shot. You know what? We have not had a good go of it as humans. So
I'm tired of fearing it.
yeah,
I mean,
Let's just
Maybe
make it
we'll
happen.
vision.
looks like it's
Maybe.
gonna
That'd be
happen.
cool.
It looks like it's gonna happen regardless. So
right.
Yeah.
But
here we go.
I'm not looking to open up a full discussion. It's just something I wanted to share, which was really interesting. So it came from Quora and the D&D space of all things. What action did your character take during a D&D that shocked the player? Father tells a story about his son and how his son used like some really like funny shenanigans to basically sidestep an encounter and get his own little gang of kobolds at his fucking beck and call. It was pretty cool.
That's cute.
He throws in this image at the end of the post. It's pretty clear to anyone looking at it, this is AI generated. But he even says AI generated image that Quora thought looked cool, and I agree. I guess Quora has like AI images that they recommend for stuff. I guess they have some vendor.
So it takes your written what you wrote and puts it in an AI. And
I
generates
can
an image?
only assume. I have never made a post on Quora. I do not know. All the information I got about AI on Quora is coming from this post.
Okay.
Because this D&D post, he goes on to do an edit.
I always wanted one of those. Is familiar.
We'll see if we can make it happen. He's talking about an ambush Drake, by the way. I don't even know if that's possible, but anything's possible in fucking D&D, the game of make-believe.
And AI.
Yeah, this is true. He goes on to have to do this edit, and it's usually an edit, whether on Quora or Reddit or anywhere, usually means that there was a conversation that happened that he needs to address. I'm going to read the full thing. The use of the AI-generated image has led to an interesting discussion about art and attributions. Since I actually understand a bit about how these work under the covers, I figured I'd use this as a bully pulpit. Quora has very obviously engaged with an AI art generation company to use the inputs provided by questions and answers as prompts to generate art. Before I have posted my answer, a chunk of it has already been sent to their vendor. There's a number of them, about a half dozen big names and many smaller names, and an artwork suggestion has been returned. This raises potential privacy concerns for some people. Generative AI is an example of a massively scaled stochastic learning system. Training the system involves scanning massive amounts of data and running a number of statistical operations on it. While the tensor calculus is beyond me, the implementation of the results of the calculus is a tight loop with a relatively simple computation that is repeated as many times as needed for each cell, characters in a text generation or pixels in an art generator. Before the optimizations are applied, when prompted, the statistical engine computes 1 byte at a time, a likely next byte in the... That's a weird way that sentence is structured. The statistical engine computes 1 byte at a time, a likely next byte in this sequence. I'm assuming there's supposed to be the word then here. Time, then a likely next byte in the
I think
sequence.
it's saying that it's predictive.
Read the
The
sentence out loud.
statistical engine computes 1 byte at a time, a likely byte in the next sequence. A likely next byte in the sequence.
Oh, there's a missing comma then. Okay. Since it has the statistical amalgamation of potentially millions of samples, it can produce output that appears reasonable. Since all it has is a statistical amalgamation, the system has no way to attribute sources apart from listing every website it has ever scanned on every image. A stochastic system is not, I don't even know if I'm saying that word right, by the way. A stochastic system is not a database. It is a massive array of floating point numbers, a tensor, that has no context and none of the original data. A statistical bias function, shortened to theta, is run against the members of the tensor to produce an output. Some examples of theta bias functions include fast Fourier transform, and simplex. There has been over 30 years of research into that bias function since I was involved in coding them. So there have been many advancements in the field between them then and now. In commercial settings, the specific bias functions are often proprietary to the company or part of someone's PhD thesis with a license fee paid to the university and the creator of the function. Today, the theta bias functions are optimized to run on cheap but massively parallel array processors, aka GPUs. The advent of cheap array processors into the consumer market in the form of GPUs has enabled widespread use of stochastic systems, such as the auto misspell on my cell phone. Theta functions today are coded to use GPU facilities unleashing a massive number of individually slow processors on each array element. When multiplied by the number of cores in the GPU running in parallel, for example, the NVIDIA RTX 3070 card has 5,888 cores. Those individual slow processors offer blindingly fast performance. The controversy comes down to who owns the copyright and gets paid in the In the USA, the courts have ruled that AI-generated art is not protected by copyright, but the original artwork scanned to train the AI is protected by copyright. The legal and ethical question is, how do the original artists get payment and attribution for their work? Since the AI-generated derivatives often have identifiable roots, artists and their employers, Getty Images for example, have taken the generative AI companies to court for illegally using their material. It remains to be seen where this goes. Quora's current business model depends on engagement, measured by clicks. If the image causes you to engage by downvoting, then from Quora's perspective, it's a net positive. Downvoting questions for the AI-generated images that they offer tells them that the images are increasing engagement. Commenting on the post with the AI image, likewise, is further engagement, as it is reporting the image. From Quora's perspective, any engagement is a good thing. I forgot that was that long. I'll be honest with y'all. I completely forgot that was a long one, but it's really cool hearing this come from what sounds like a data scientist, or at least a data engineer.
Definitely sounds like it.
Because the conversation that was going on is you had a lot of people just complaining that he used an AI image at the end of his post, and people that were like very piss off Quora.
Sign in.
Don't just let me see the bullshit. I don't even want to comment. But a lot of people that are like pissed off and like very, very proud of the fact that they were downvoting his stuff because it's AI and he's like explaining this shit to them. I just want to see where's the goddamn comments. Oh, I hate this sometimes. But yeah, no, it was just like a really interesting discussion that goes on right here. Nice answer. Downvoted for AI art theft. Basically, where's the one comment I want? This is that person, that kind of person who's like very upset over buzzwords, and you can kind of tell in the use of like his language that he's not coming at this from like a nuanced perspective or like really anything. He kind of took the Court of Appeals like prompt of AI bad, and he's just operating out of that. So someone comments to him, AI art isn't any more theft than any other art. Claiming your art is unique and original and this is the worst kind of theft. What with the high horse of all, that horse was probably stolen too. I don't fully agree with that, but I understand where they're coming from. He responds back, nope, AI art generators are nothing more than pattern matching image scrapers that steal the work of artists, having been trained on the work of artists. At no point are these artists either credited or paid. When that changes, get back to me. And then person responds, and that's different from human artists. How human artists routinely acknowledge their sources. Does this get to the? There it is. Yep, that is exactly what I wanted. So he goes, yep, human artists always attribute their sources. Person comes back and says, this is not intended as an attack on you. Please do not take it as such. I'm an artist. While I might acknowledge in passing conversation who may or may not have inspired me while I learn to be my own artist, I do not make a habit of attributing any particular art piece I make to any other artist. I have not once paid out my proceeds to any artist who inspired me or that I learned off of while studying art. I share profits from strictly collaborative works as is the custom, so I am not sure the acknowledgement of sources will hold much weight. An AI can, and usually does, have known data sets as its inspiration is inspired by. As such, it owes them nothing unless it is from a private stock that asks a viewing price. In such a case, the viewer, the AI, should pay its fee as anybody does, and then it is free to learn from the viewing as all who view it do. Thank you. Why did it just randomly say the time?
No, sometimes I like bump it and then
Mine does that too, but a lot of times I don't even bump it. Siri just pops
Just
up.
need you to know what time it is right now.
Yeah, or like it literally just randomly listens to me when I'm talking and then it tries to answer.
Oh, that's just fucking.
sorry for the interruption.
No, you're good. That's just those dynamic assistants all together.
Gosh dang AI.
Right? Where was I? as AI can and usually does have known data sets that is inspired by it. As such, it owes them nothing unless it is from, I did all this. As all who view it do. If you want to argue against AI, you will have to take a stronger, more defensive stand, such as it may be incompatible with your view of human society due to making human skill depreciate in value, since it is more capable than humans in many areas. Saying it is cheating seems like a very difficult position to defend. I will always defend the arts, but not dogmatically so. I will always produce art regardless of the tools I use. Sometimes that will be with nothing more than sand and a stick, or the thoughts from my head and the words from my mouth. And others, it will be with all the wonders our kind have mustered to date. No matter how tall the giant I stand on, I stand one person higher. This is so. This guy's quote, David Johnson's like his whole edit excerpt, and this comment is the reason I really wanted to share this. Of like this, like really hits the nail on the head of like how I feel about AI. And I feel kind of about the conversation around AI lately. I know I've done a lot of talking about AI. A lot of like the last like at least 2 to 3 episodes. There's been like a deep discussion on AI, but these really kind of sum up my biggest thing about AI and the dissent about AI is like your arguments don't really mean shit when you really kind of get down to it. Like if your whole thing is AI is theft, that's it. Like then you don't have an argument. You just have a chant that you don't really understand. Mm-hmm. And I say that
I think that if you want to post something that's like nuanced and really gets to the message, but I think that their points aren't too dissimilar, right? I do think that when a statistical model is using other people's artwork as data and then creating a profitable product using that stuff, and that is theft. Just like I think that when Nestle pumps water from the ground of the natural resources and like mines the natural resources that collectively belong to everybody in the area, everybody that occupies the land, I think that is also a form of theft. Right?
I agree with that point. I'm gonna so here's my biggest thing about AI, right? It comes down to granularity. As was pointed out in the 2 different sources of so as this person pointed out, if with AI, it's taking a type of art and I'm trained on that kind of art and my entire art style is inspired by that art, if I'm no longer attributing my art style, even though it has roots in another art style, is that still theft?
I don't think so, but I think there's a very fundamental difference between a statistical model created and trained on somebody's art and a person.
I think my biggest
I
detraction
think there's a
here.
passing similarity in the resemblance of the pattern, right? Like taking inspiration from something, modeling styles, taking elements from something. That pattern, I think, is very similar. I see what you're saying there, but when we're talking about implementing a statistical model, implementing a product that is owned by a company, I think that those are 2 very fundamentally different things.
I don't, or at least I can see where it can be a fundamentally different thing. But my dissent here comes from when we say trained on an art style, it seems to always kind of have this connotation of there's 1, maybe 2, maybe a couple very specific artists that are being stolen from at any one time. And this is where my argument of granularity comes in. How much, if an AI generated image is a culmination of, let's say you generate a 1920 by 1080 image, right? Every one of those pixels is possibly pulling from a separate source. And then there's a smoothing algorithm that goes over that to make it a cohesive thing, right? How granular do you get before you go, let's take your Nestle example, right? And I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make this point properly, but with your Nestle example, there's a very specific location that water is coming from, right? And it is like you're pumping that water from a very specific location. You're not giving any of that. None of the proceeds goes back to any of the places, right? The difference I see between that and this is it's trying to make the argument that collecting rainwater is technically stealing because that water could have came from another country, or technically it comes from other parts of the world.
I see what you're
and
saying.
therefore you have to attribute that water to every fucking country it could have possibly came from.
See, I think
and
we're
give them a piece of the
disagreeing
pie.
about the point at which the theft occurs. Right. I think when you take somebody's piece of artwork without their consent or knowledge,
Now the conversation
turn
about
it-
consent, that is one thing.
you turn that into a data point, and then I think that is the point at which the theft happens, right? Not at the point at which somebody uses that data set that created AI and creates an image of it, right? That's not where the theft is, right? That's just using a tool that's been created for us, right? It's based off of somebody's work. I can see how people would be upset by that because it really flattens the human effort and labor that was put into those things. But I don't think that at that point it's theft. I think the point at which it's theft is when it's scraped and compressed into a data point, right? And that is the point at which those individual people should be compensated for the data that they're providing the model in the first place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And to an extent, I don't know if I think that they should be continuously compensated for the profits that model produces, right? But I think that would probably make sense to me. Just like when this person right here is saying, like talking about, let's just go back down. The viewer of the AI should pay, as anybody does. Right?
Oh yeah, the viewing bit. Okay.
Like, I agree with that, right? Because
But what if how do I say this? Like if the art is on Patreon, say, and you see the image, or you use the image to train an AI, you would have paid for it basically. But what if the art is free and open on the internet? Anybody can search it.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. Our current conception of the usage rights doesn't account for this kind of stuff. Right. So like right now, if you put a piece of artwork out on the internet for free and open use, you are putting it out on the free and what do you visualize happening to that piece of artwork, right? You probably visualize it ending up in like PowerPoint presentations. Maybe worst case scenario, somebody you don't like or don't agree with uses it, like for messaging that you don't agree with. But most of the time you're picturing an individual taking it, usually modifying it, and then producing more work with it, right? Versus a multi-billion-dollar company coming along, sucking it in as a data point, and it disappearing, right, in an illegible sense. I think that those are very fundamentally different things, right? So I don't think that our current understanding of like copyright and stuff like that is prepared or could handle this at all.
Oh, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah.
No.
So I think if you put it out on the internet and you said free and open for everybody, also free and available for AI training, I think that would be fine, right? If the thing got compressed. But if you put it out on the internet, you said free and open for individual use, not available for AI, like that's how I.
Yeah, you're touching in on like maybe that's just something that we have to do as a society, like impart a new law or some kind of rule that incorporates the usage of AI. Maybe that's how you start to regulate it.
I think. Well,
Get
like,
some
regulations
more,
definitely
some
gonna have to
kind
be-
of regulation rules on that.
I can already see there already being the. So, I guess that's the fun bit, right? Of like the second you put something out on the internet, it's kind of the internet's now. Of that argument is going to be really hard to regulate without a. I won't say it's going to be really hard, but to me, what I'm thinking is it's going to be really hard to regulate that without a massive overhaul about how we do almost any kind of social posting, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, once it's out there, I can find plenty of what's technically supposed to be paid shit for free. You can find Getty. Okay, let's take the Getty images, right? Mm-hmm. Getty images. It is a paywall to get high quality versions of their images. You have to pay. Except you can find a free version of pretty much everything. It just might have a watermark on it, but you can find a free version of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Does that count or not, right? If that's getting
accessible on a web page, you have then given people the capacity to download it.
Right.
Right. And so when we're talking about like bad faith usage, like there really is no protection against these things
Right.
on the internet. And I think that's a problem. But I do think that is a separate problem from, right, should we even attempt to address this in the first place? Right. I think that.
Oh, no, you absolutely should attempt to address this to some level of degree. I guess my thing is this conversation we just had now is, in my opinion, starkly different than the conversation that usually is probably going on with art theft, like AI theft bad.
Oh, yeah.
AI bad, theft wrong.
Well, 'cause
AI is theft, and
most
therefore...
people, I don't have a fucking clue how AI works. I just listened to probably the best
explanation of how AI... That is the most thorough explanation of how AI works I have ever fucking heard, right?
Yeah.
And I've listened to multiple podcasts on AI and the policies around AI.
Yeah.
Right? That's still the best explanation I've gotten so far.
Right.
But the I forgot where I was going to take that.
That's fair.
Take
Why
that
you-
compliment.
Right. While you remember that, my point being is this is not, I am not in, obviously I'm in opposition to the unethical use of AI. I am not pro AI bad. And like this series of comments gets to the heart of my biggest issue with how some people describe AI art.
I remember.
Yeah. Okay. What you get?
I was just going to say most people out there, because they don't understand AI, they react instinctively. And they react based on the commentary of the people that they trust around this issue. And especially in a court, I think that it's just a very, very, very visceral, just like AI bad.
And that's all I have
Bad
to say
thing.
about
I
that.
see bad thing. I don't like the bad thing. I'm
Yeah.
gonna press the down arrow and make the mean comment.
Yeah. I'm gonna get back to that in 1 second. You were about to say something. I cut you off.
It was sort of like a thought that I had, which is, I think the thing that I have a hard time getting past is like, let's just say Starry Night and the Mona Lisa are modern artists that are still living. So like, if I take and I make a painting,
Not Dali and Da Vinci specifically. Those two paintings are modern artists now.
So like, say I personally paint the Mona Lisa in the style of Starry Night.
Right.
Is that like, would
Is
that
that
be
now
considered?
theft?
Is that a derivative? Am I a thief? Is that enough of a derivative that I could sell that painting? I feel like it would be.
Well, I mean, that's
It's
copyright law.
it's like a
But I guess that's I guess the hard bit is I'm trying to think of two.
But then, what if I generated that exact same image with an AI?
Well, here's
Or not exact.
Here's where I'm gonna like back up what you just said because I want to substitute it in two different pieces of art, right? If I almost wanted to talk about Palworld, and I'm not going to. Let's say so instead of Mona Lisa and Starry Night, because those are clearly in public domain, and I want to draw the hardest line with something that is much more understood to be.
I don't know any modern artists.
I don't think we need to even worry about it being modern art. Let's say you do if I re-release if I take Pokemon and I put it in the UE5 engine, right? And do I get to release a Pokemon game? Because is that derivative enough? Like it essentially is what just got said here. Is if I literally take Pokemon designs or like take the Pokemon models from the current Pokemon games and just put them in a higher grade engine or like a more powerful platform, is that derivative enough? And I don't think so.
I feel like AI is more like if you take all the Pokemon and put tassels on them and then release them in a game.
I think that's the worst description you could ever give for AI.
I'm just
Well,
because
like,
AI stuff is more transformative than that. I feel
True.
like. Especially when you start mixing,
I guess
3 and 4 and 5.
If we take the Pokemon anime and
if you
do it in Studio Ghibli style,
take
right?
Pokemon and Digimon and mix them together.
Is that now? Which I would say no. I mean, if like we're talking like you literally just have Agumon and Pokemon
So
sitting
if a
next to each other.
company said, I came up with this new cool ass monster hunting game, and it's literally just a Pokemon and Digimon blended together.
It's like all the creatures look like it could kind of be a Pokemon and it could kind of
But
be
they
a
are
Digimon.
different creatures though, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
I think
see what you
that
mean.
I think okay.
Well, if
First
that's the
off-
case, Palmon is the fucking conversation here then.
I was gonna say.
I was
we're
saying, in
talking-
that
we're
specific-
Pow- I keep saying Palmon,
around-
Palworld.
In
We
that
are talking about Palworld.
specific instance, I think it's acceptable. Right? I think that would be an acceptable work. I think it would probably be a little lazy.
Which has been the consensus with Palworld.
lacking in originality, but I think it would be without being a copyright lawyer, I think it would be an acceptable use of like work. And the other thing is, we talk about something like a fine art, creative work of like fine art. So let's say I do the Mona Lisa in the style of
Starry Night.
Starry Night. I was going to use the artist's specific name, Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
In
I
the
say
style of
Dalai
Van Gogh.
Lama.
I did an impressionist Mona Lisa, which actually probably almost certainly exists now that I think about
More
it.
than likely.
The you are using your knowledge of the works of Van Gogh, and you are using your impression of the Mona Lisa, and you are using your human labor, right, and time to create a new work entirely, right? I think that qualifies it as its own unique thing, right? Now, is it going to be the piece of the century? Absolutely not, right? But
Here's my question.
I do think that is transformative.
And I think there's a part of this that might have gotten lost because I was sitting here searching up a thing. And Izzy, I want you to look at this shit right quick. Does the use of any digital, so we're talking about two classic art pieces. When you add in digital art mediums to that, does that change this topic?
Like if I did it in MS Paint, or like in Photoshop,
or GIMP, or
so like if I took the Mona Lisa and swirled it with
More or
my swirl
less.
brush,
pretty much, yeah.
I
Or if you like achieve like Starry Night effects by using,
a filter.
right, like
I think that meets the literal bare minimum of what I would accept, right? But I would call it, like, actually, no, I do that shit a lot because I'm like, I want to use this, but I want to make sure it's transformed in some way. But
yeah.
but
Because a lot of the times when I argue about AI, I'm arguing it from the standpoint of just another technological tool to be used.
yeah, and that's why I think that we talk about the result.
Yeah.
Right. We talk about the result of whatever AI is able to produce. I think that is fine. I don't think that the model itself or the thing itself qualifies as like theft in the way that we think about. But I do think that just scooping human labor and crunching it into a data point is unethical. I think that there should be some form of compensation there.
Agree, 100%.
Yeah.
That's the Palworld shit. I know y'all do not know Pokemon as well as I do,
But I do have eyes.
but you do have eyes. Now this one is a stretch to me because that's just you have a Jackal that's based on Anubis and an Anubis based Palmon. Like, yeah, that's just gonna fucking happen. Sheeps are stupid common in monster tamers and JRPGs in general. But this I still feel is a stretch. There's to be talked about that, but you got to have like knowledge of a few different Pokemon to get there. But these two are like the two most egregious ones when it came to like Palworld's release. This one in particular, like this one, is almost lawsuit levels
It's
of
just
ripped.
I was gonna say I don't think it's to the point. I was sorry to directly contradict what you said. I was like, I don't think it's to the point where you can file a lawsuit, but it very much is.
No, you essentially agreed with me. I said almost.
It's
Almost. It's approaching. It's not quite there yet.
It's bargain bin.
Yeah. It's
Very
clearly
close.
you just ripped this and gave it a different
What are
typing.
what's the name of that Pokemon? The purple one.
Gudra?
It's Mom. We have Gudra at home.
It is mine. We have Gudra at home. Like, it really is. Well, here's the
And
best part.
Venusaur and Bayleaf.
Oh, it's even better than that. Hold on. I can guarantee.
Yeah, I was gonna say that almost looks more close to Bayleaf than anything.
It's the evolution of Bayleaf. What's the last one?
No, I can show you where that fucking crown piece came from. It came from It came from Lilligant.
Ooh.
It just literally took.
I don't know. It came from Princess Peach. It's
I can see it.
You know what? Fair enough. You never seen a crown on a flower, but the upturned petals, the fucking crown. It's just Gudra's model, colored green, and given Lilligant's flower crown, which is not based on a real flower at all. It is completely made up by Pokemon.
and this one looks like sorry, other page.
Oh,
Like that's like Leafeon.
yeah, it's
Like mixed
this
with
Pokemon.
it's a lot. They do a lot of like fusion dance.
Oh, they
type
really
stuff.
do. They do a lot of that with Palworld. It is.
Palworld, come to find out, all of Palworld's designs were actually from AI prompts where they said cross this Pokemon with this Pokemon.
Which is very possibly was. Like, Pokemon
like-
fusion generators are a thing.
I was gonna say, or you just go to a Pokemon,
Pokemon
fusion
fusion
generator,
generator.
and then you type those two Pokemon in there, and then you get that.
Which is funny because there was a lot of people who are like, Palworld didn't steal shit. Pokemon doesn't get to own these ideas, which is like, yeah, that's fair when you're talking about like this. But when you get to these, all of a sudden the argument becomes, I mean, is it really stealing though if we mix two things? Like,
Palworld stole shit, but it's legally distinct.
it's legally distinct enough that they get away with it,
Not-
as well as people like to throw in the it's a parody.
The
It's clearly
inconsistency
satire.
of the organization for the comparisons on this sheet pisses me off.
Of course, that's the thing you're looking at.
It
That's
really
fair.
fucking bugs me.
That's really fair. I don't know where they pulled these screenshots
let's go
from.
up to the top. Okay.
Yeah.
Pokemon on outside, Palworld on inside. Next row,
Except
Pokemon Pokemon on
outside, Palworld on
Palworld
inside. Pokemon on inside, Palworld on outside, but not the other one.
but not the other one.
So
What's
it's
going
just the
on?
game.
Yeah, the formatting on this is kind of wild.
What's going on?
It looks more like they pulled these screenshots from a different video, from videos.
Oh,
It looks like these are screenshot from something else that was
so
comparing
the
them.
pairs are individual screenshots.
1, 2, 3, and 4 were different screenshots, and then these two are completely separate. I'm not going to give this random person on Reddit flack for their compositional skills. Fluffy would like to have some strongly worded words with you.
Get in design.
You created rows. It was a simple pattern.
You
Just
did
follow
create
the
rows.
pattern you created.
Trust me, I noticed. I'm trying to be more upset about the
It's
company
almost-
that made millions upon millions of dollars from this shit.
It's almost
And the
as
billion
if-
Wait,
dollar
really?
corporation.
Like this person
They sold-
who made this was
You're
like,
fucking
They
kidding.
sold 10 million copies in like the first week,
Wow.
like the first 10 days or some shit. And that number's probably like at least doubled since then. I think it's probably a lot of flash pan, like flash in the pan type
It
shit.
is.
But
Well,
I don't
I'm
know.
mad because we could have made Palworld.
We super could have. We really fucking could have. We'll do it
Palworld
someday.
is
would've
really
been too
just
scared.
like out of the box Unreal 5 environment assets.
It really is.
landscape. And then
Even their fucking gameplay isn't anything really innovative. It's just Ark Survival.
Have you played it yet?
Nope.
No.
I have it downloaded. I have it ready to go. Yes, I'm a part of the number that fucking paid for that shit.
Thor from Pirate Software called it a remix game, and God, it couldn't be any a better description.
Yeah.
Fucking, because
It's-
it really just
I mean,
is.
this Palworld is literally what if you took Pixelmon, and just made it actually 3D, high quality. I forget how the fuck we got here. Oh yeah, AI generation. Yeah, this fucking thing too was nuts.
I
to
wonder
me.
if part of Palworld's success is just how egregious of a ripoff it is.
Oh yes,
oh yeah,
a lot of Palworld's success is attributed to the conversation around it. B, a lot of people being angry about the quality of Pokemon not being that high or as high as it should be. Like,
or just like it's kind of stagnant.
Yeah, so a little stagnant. Yeah, people just looking for anything to be different than they're just looking for anything in the monster collection tamer space that isn't necessarily Pokemon. But I talked about this with you. Is like there are better competitors. Like there are actual competitors. Like Tim was an actual competitor that didn't just rip off Pokemon style. Fucking Cassette Beast is in this actual vein that didn't just rip off Pokemon style. It actually tried to do something unique. Like, and they had they were much more like 15 minutes of fame type shit, like really high, like well crafted games, but never garnered this. This only got this popular because it straight up just whipped off Pokemon.
Engagement. It's all about the
and it's all
engagement.
then engagement.
The
Everyone's talking about
engagement
it.
has driven.
It's Pokemon, but with guns.
Which is literally what it is.
That was the first thing I heard about Palworld.
Yeah.
And instantly I was like, huh? And it got me to look into it.
Yeah.
And if I was any more interested in Pokemon, which I like Pokemon, but if I was like a diehard Pokemon fan, I would be way more engaged with just hearing about that.
I don't give a shit about Palworld, but it keeps popping up in my feed because people that I
everyone's
follow are talking about it.
Yeah.
Because everybody's talking about it.
Which ties into one other point I wanted to make about the Quora posts, about the whole AI thing. It's not about the AI itself. It was actually about the last thing that was mentioned. And it is what David Johnson himself mentioned at the end of this, is about how engagement works in social media. You do not get things taken away by just talking about them a lot. I know people love to talk about the Sonic shit. The Sonic movie, even let's say the bullying actually did work with the Sonic movie and we got that fucking model changed. Do you remember the original Sonic model? Yeah. Let's say that even did fucking work. That is an anomaly to how social media works. And even then, that's mostly because there's a higher chance that people were not going to go see the movie, especially after how Cats kind of bombed, when like shit was just ugly as sin. People are not going to deal with like, it's one thing when your money flow is based on online engagement. It's an entirely different thing when your money flow is based on ticket sales. With online engagement, you can bully individual people off the internet, but you do not bully ideas and IPs off the internet by just showing how much you don't like it. You cannot downvote posts enough. You cannot negatively comment enough. You cannot hate comment enough to get corporate backed things off the internet. If you don't like AI, downvoting and commenting in the comments that you don't like AI is not going to get AI removed off these platforms. The exact way that David Johnson described, at the end of the day, these platforms care about clicks. They care about engagement. If you are going to engage, then all you'd have done is you have shown them that they have succeeded in what their goal was. It matters about engagement. If your best bet for having something removed off the internet that you don't like or getting something to be removed is by not engaging with it at all. Is you don't give it numbers, that shit moves out of the fucking ether very quickly. Because if it's not making money, then it has no use here. That's that whole point I wanted to make. But
So if I block a channel on YouTube, is that engagement?
no, I don't think so.
Okay, sweet.
I think if you block a channel on YouTube, even
You can block channels on YouTube?
yeah,
Yeah, you can say don't show me.
don't
this
show,
channel."
don't and like recommended. You can say don't recommend me this channel anymore. You can straight up block you. I think you can straight up block channels and shit. Okay. Let's block Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You can report. I don't remember if you can.
I think it has to be like outside in the. It's dumb.
Oh, okay, yeah, some weird.
Yeah, like those 3 dots there.
Oh, that's stupid.
Maybe
Nope.
not.
Sure. Yada yada yada. I want to say you can block specific channels,
I can on
but
my
I
phone.
don't.
Report user.
I guess you can hide it from your channel. Hide users from channels. You can report them. In most places, you can block, and that is literally if you want shit to leave your radar, blocking it is your best bet because it is a very clear indicator of removing it from as a viable click option.
I just don't want Jordan Peterson to show up in my shorts ever again.
Dude, yeah, no, just go down the list and like every time you see it, just say don't show me
Don't show me this
channel."
again. Literally, I do that for both my news feed, my TikTok feed, and my Twitter feed, and it works wonders. Because it is one of the few data points that isn't just like lumped in as just another click and engagement. It is such a clear indicator of I'm removing this from my ability to interact with it ever again in the future.
Have you guys ever had this experience where you're going through and you're looking at comedy shorts and you're like some yuck 'em ups and somebody you watch a comedy short and it must have just been some asshole who said some real whack shit, but he doesn't say it. And the one that you watched, that one was just funny. And then 2 more swipes down, they're like, "All right, so you like Jordan Peterson.
No, I really don't.
Want some alpha males talking about how much they like Andrew Tate.
No, I
And
really
you
fucking
want some
don't.
Joe Rogan up in here,
Yeah, no, it's always like it starts out with Joe Rogan, and then I'm like, why do I keep getting Joe Rogan?
You know, the fact that we're talking about it right now just means that it's just gonna pop up.
Yeah,
All the time.
I'm now gonna have to
I'm
block a
gonna
bunch of shit.
lay down in bed tonight and I'm gonna open up TikTok and I'm not gonna get my big titty goth bitches. I'm gonna get fucking Joe Rogan. And I'm already pissed off about
They
it.
really do give me the
Big
God.
titty goth bitches.
They do it.
Big T got big
Big titty goth bitches, big titty goth bitches.
It's remarkable how they don't. I
Even
kind of
hide it
hate
anymore.
it.
Yeah.
I kind of hate it. Well, because it's not like thirst traps, right? It's
Mine are.
just
Them existing in the
attractive
form that they
women
are.
that I would deeply love, that I would love to deeply fall in love with. Right? Like, it's just, they're just doing their own thing. They're vibing. They're making their own content. But I'm just like, I would like to fall in love with you. I would like to, you know.
You say like to. I have had whole marriages in my head. There are 3 women in my fucking TikTok feed right now that I am on like my 3rd honeymoon with.
Just like the parasocial romantic urge.
Parasocial. That's the one.
Now the difference is I don't engage with any of them, so it's okay.
Oh,
It's all in my head. All in my head.
I was reading a manhwa yesterday that was so bad.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. It was just so like it was so just genuinely terrible. I really didn't I started to skim ahead to see if it would get better and it just
Kept getting worse.
didn't.
Or was
like-
it like a steady level of just
It was just bad. So like I'm a sucker. I enjoy a Gary Stu story, right? If I'm just looking for some dopamine, I enjoy, like, you know, just as a guy or a gal just getting their bread.
That's something totally
Right.
different.
really? Okay, I see.
More of a reaction.
It's a fun,
you
fun
should say
little read. Yay, go get success. But in order for a narrative to be interesting, there has to be a little bit of challenge, right? You have to be trying to do something. You have to overcome some stuff, maybe learn a lesson or two. Like, you have to
Right.
do something, right? So, I'm also a sucker for a good variation. In particular, one of my favorite variations are like, I exist in a world that is constructed around violence, right? But I have to learn I have to make a place in this world with my skills as a farmer,
Oh, okay.
or like with my skills as a beast tamer, like some variation on like how do I either make a place for myself using just these peaceable skills, or how do I take these normally peaceful skills and use them for violence? Both of them can be very fun. So
You mean like Apothecary's Diaries?
yeah, a little bit. But so I was reading like I am a gardener in a hunter world. I believe it was the
Nice.
and I was like, I'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
I'll give it a chance. It's on the most popular this month.
Oh, that's always great.
Looks like it'll be interesting. I started reading, and this guy is the most milquetoast, boring ass motherfucker I've ever read on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I could get over. I could get over that. I can get over that. You know what? And it's the classic, like, I woke as a laborer and I have no abilities. And then one day he falls asleep and he gets sent to a magical realm. And in
His isekai wasn't even interesting?
His isekai wasn't even interesting. It's not even it's a temporary. So in the world, there are already portals with which monsters come from. That's kind of a setting.
Yeah.
Right. And so he's born into this world and he falls asleep and he's like, no. And now he's just surrounded by the most valuable, abundant, magical produce. Like he's not even gardening this shit. It's just there. Right.
Of course.
And then he's like walking around, do. And he's like, man, I wish I had a bag to collect some of this stuff. You know what happens?
Please don't tell me he just finds a bag.
A bag falls out of the sky.
I
Onto
was
his
going to
head.
say, does it just pop? Wow.
It literally falls out of the sky.
How many chapters
onto
is
his
it?
head. It's like 40 chapters so far.
Currently?
I've
Did you
only-
read them all?
I only made it to chapter like 10. I was like,
Does this man just
That's-
get everything he wants?
well, and then he's like in his little shop. He was selling his potions.
Yeah.
And people coming in, obviously, because he's making these potions with like bonkers shit. They're like,
This is some good
this is some
shit.
good shit. And he's like, oh, that's cool. Just, you can have them for free if you want.
Part of me almost feels like you have to keep pushing through because there's no way you have that set up and it doesn't pay off as like a massive joke. I want you to send me this. I will put myself through the pain just to see
All right, I'll
what
send it
happens
to you.
going forward.
And so,
Skip
like,
ahead
well,
or
you want to know what
Yeah.
the next major plot point is?
Yeah.
His next form of things that he can make. You know what? You know what happens?
Don't tell me this bitch like
He
jumps up
goes.
to weapons.
He goes to visit his sister. He goes
Huh?
to visit his sister. He goes like, "Hey sis, we're gonna hang out." And his sister's like, "Oh, I got you this book because
Did
I
his
thought it would
sister
look
get
cool in your
isekai?
shop."
is she isekai or is he just able to go back to the?
He's able to go back to the real world.
Oh, it's okay.
So
Portal
like when he
isekai,
falls
okay.
asleep, he goes to this
Oh.
magic.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Wait,
okay.
so he brings stuff back from the sleep realm?
He can bring stuff back from the sleep realm.
Did you say he can?
He can.
What?
I mean, the first time he fell asleep, he got dirt on his hands. So presumably, if he's carrying it or if it's in the bag, he can just take it back from the sleep realm.
That's massively broken, and I do wish I had that power.
Yeah, and then so you know what? His sister hands him this book.
Big booty clown bitches forever. One.
And guess what this book is called?
Hold on. What was his request to his sister again?
He just going to visit his sister. And his sister's like, I thought this would look cool in your shop. It was so there's nothing.
Oh, she gives him the book.
Yeah, she gives him the book. She's like, there's nothing written in it. There's this old guy who's like, I don't freaking want it anymore.
Then
So
when he
she
falls,
knows that he goes to this world in his dreams.
She doesn't.
is
She
he
doesn't.
bringing stuff from his dreams to the real world and selling him in
He
the shop?
is and selling him his shop.
Okay,
Oh.
we either missed it or we thought you explained it in a weird way. It seems
That's okay.
like
I
in
didn't
the
clearly delineate between
Okay.
the real world and the
because
magic.
we thought in the dream world he has opened up a shop to sell his
in the
wares.
dream world
He gets this
collects
shit.
stuff.
Okay.
And in the real world he sells the stuff.
Okay.
I don't know how long it's been off, but it went off.
Son of a whore. Magic of editing, y'all will never know what happened other than me telling you right now I accidentally set the camera to record at the wrong frame rate and it was double the frame rate that we normally record at. So, hey.
Video.
The spell book was called the Infinite Spell Book.
Bullshit.
It was called the Infinite Spell Book. So basically, it's a blank book, and anytime he writes, he can write as many magical scrolls in it as he wants to. And of course, as soon as he goes to the other world, he learns like powerful ancient rune magic from like the fucking world tree. And then he's writing these scrolls that are worth basically that are better than anything that anybody else could ever make. And then
He's got a cheat sheet.
So yeah,
Literally.
he just fucking
the more you describe this, the more I'm like, it has to have a payoff.
There is. I've been reading it. It's part of a very specific, lazily written, trope-heavy webcomic. It's not. When you read it, it's just how it is. It's just bad.
That's very much like the school of.
We've gotten as close. The closest thing we've gotten to a payoff is that he's on a mission for the world tree. Saves
Which
the
he-
universe.
Great. Okay.
So he gets infinite power and ability.
Did you send it to me?
No, I didn't.
We should do that. 'Cause I'm gonna read through some of that just to see, because I'm like, there's no, and even if I don't read it, I'm gonna research that shit, because like, there's no way that's, how does that trend on popular? That's literally like a story without any proper storytelling devices to it. Like, but that seems really bad. Is it at least like good art?
Art's okay.
Oh, that's great.
How does it feel to see your character redone in good art? Anyways.
Dang.
Oh, that's going down in school history.
I mean, while we're on that topic, we may as well just talk about.
I was gonna say, speaking of good art, you, sir, have been watching a little new series.
Oh, I was
Oh,
just
what are
saying,
you talking
since we're
about?
on the topic of manhwa, we may as well, or manga comics,
Oh yeah, you're
we
right.
may as well just stay on the topic.
You know what?
of
Yeah,
that.
you know what? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the part where I get to tell you that I did not hear what you were saying.
Oh.
I
Fair
made
enough,
some
fair
bold
enough.
assumptions.
No.
All right, let's do it then. Cursed Princess Club. So, meet Gwendolyn, living proof that princesses don't always have it all. See, although she lives in a castle and her father is the king, Gwendolyn isn't like a movie princess or even a fairy tale princess. She's got a big heart, but isn't particularly attractive and doesn't have a Disney quality singing voice. But one night, she accidentally stumbles upon the twisted world of the Cursed Princess Club. Her life will never be the same. Hexed and cast out, the ladies of the club are just the people Gwendolyn needs to show her that just because she doesn't fit the mold does not mean she's any less of a princess. Tell me that's not Gwendolyn.
No, she's the green one.
Oh, dear God. Okay. All right, fair enough. Fluff, give us the rundown.
The Cursed Princess Club. This one is very much not targeted towards me at all, but I still deeply enjoy it.
Mhm. Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
About wise. It's like, yeah, those are her sisters, I believe. But it's very much based around that trope of, person with the heart of gold, but they just so nasty.
Ugly duckling.
Right. Ugly duckling. But unlike in those stories where eventually their outside changes to reflect how beautiful their inside is, she just kind of ugly.
No, you're just a little ugly. Sorry, man.
It's unclear whether or not she's actually cursed or if she just is a swamp monster woman. They imply at the very least they're taking their time. If she ever gets uncursed, they're taking their time with the story, and they're taking their time with it to make it extremely clear that whether or not she's cursed, her value does not come from whether or not she's beautiful. And she's able to create friends, relationships, live a valuable life, be a good fucking person, do great things, pursue romance. People get so down bad for this girl, man, because she's sweet as hell, right? She makes the best pies.
Is she?
And she's a great friend.
Hell yeah.
It's real. It's just such a wholesome read.
Awesome.
It's a deeply wholesome story, and it's really fun to read, and it doesn't do the bad part of the ugly duckling stories, which is I don't know, to me, you take your glasses off
And all of a sudden
and all
you're
of a
the
sudden you're
most.
beautiful. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah.
First of all,
You
some
know-
people have to live with glasses for the rest of their fucking life.
Thank you.
Right. And glasses are hot.
Thank you. Or, removing your fucking freckles really does just remove all of the ugliness out of your soul. We've been watching Apothecary's Diaries, and it is
Before now, you were just a little plaything, but now I actually want to fuck you.
Really difference?
a little different. It's like this fucking masterclass of like, what is it's Eastern beauty standards? It's understandable, but like it's just this hilarious thing of the freckles are fake, and apparently that was enough to make her just the most plain Jane looking girl out there.
Even plain Jane, to the point that literally nobody in the entire like echelons of the empire can recognize her,
Just
unless they work directly with her.
yeah, like literally only one character was like, "Oh, I know who you are."
Yeah.
But Apothecary Diaries, fantastic manhwa, also fantastic anime. It's been a really fun watch.
It's like Clark Kent's glasses. It all comes back to glasses.
Oh, it comes back to glasses. You did it again. It happened again. You said what you just said. You said Clark Kent's glasses, and I heard it's all Kent's glasses. He did it the same day we were watching the anime, and he said,
Did I say Clark Kent or did I say Clark?
all I heard was Kent's glasses.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking stumbled over my own words. You said Clark Kent, but I heard the Kent's glasses part, and I thought it was in reference to the whole like becoming unrecognizable just because you put on glasses and become like the most beautiful person ever just because you take your glasses off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's true, but why are we talking about Kenton right now? Like, like Kenton rocks those fucking like this man makes some fantastic use of contacts. Like it is insane. But like, yeah, no, like it really is the Clark Kent school of one very minor detail changes everything apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But anywho, yeah, that was at least this I can actually say is decently ugly. I don't think in the grand scheme of things, this is the ugliest like a character could be.
Yeah. Well, she looks like
We might be sharing a brain cell.
Lark from Baldur's Gate 3. I don't think.
Never mind. No, we're not. I'm thinking Tatsuyu from My Hero. Frog bitch.
If Frog Bitch didn't have a nose.
Okay, yeah. No, well, I mean, she doesn't look like her.
I was gonna say, I think that one has a certain charm about her.
Oh, Tatsuyu, yeah, Tatsu's like
different than this, but I'm trying to think if there is another character that.
So we were just talking about Mary Sue's. What's the conflict here?
She's ugly as sin.
It's written a little more like a periodical or like you would a book series for something like this. So like they have various different like little conflicts that happen.
Oh, is it a webisode? Just episodic?
Yeah, kind of. Like they have like a bake sale arc. There's this whole like tension between like a prince that was engaged to her and then saw her and was like, yeah, and then like started to have a change of heart. There's a cursed prince that shows up at some point and like does stuff. A lot of the things have like music associated with them that's like very pleasant. There's the whole arc where at first she's sneaking out of the castle to go to the Cursed Princess Club and be friends with these people, and they have to figure out how to resolve that. It's all very, very interesting.
If we did not make this, I didn't make this clear, by the way, when we started. This is not really a manga or a manhwa. This is actually a webtoon.
Yeah, which means it could be Chinese, Korean, or American. I'm not really sure which one. I think it is a translation of something, which most webtoons are.
It could be,
but it's not specified.
I will say whoever wrote this synopsis is definitely an English speaker. Like just the tone of the synopsis, like the literal like
referencing Disney.
Well, the references are Disney, but I mean like literally just in like the voice that comes out of this, you can tell it's like a native English speaker. That is,
the themes feel very Western to me, but that's not a great indicator.
Good, yeah. So it's hard to say. It looks like someone's like a middle school girl from like early 2000s. Especially these princes.
You really do
These
have that
princes look like something from an American high school girl's manga notebook.
They look like some fuckboys.
Yeah. It also like some of the screenshots give me like Nichijou vibes. It was like this one.
Yeah, the faces are
This
very
one.
expressive.
Yeah.
The art isn't like the highest quality, but I think
It's
also
not,
very
but it's charming. I was gonna say, yeah, it's not very high quality, but there's a charm to it in that. This is definitely done by like a small time. This is not done by a studio. This is like a person is just kind of doing their deal. And I would back that up. I would say this is not a professional artist, or at least someone who did not start down like the career path of being a professional artist. It seems like someone's like hobby that took the fuck off.
Yeah.
There is a very charming aspect to this. I don't know how much of this I can show in a video, but I'm gonna try to get at least a couple screenshots of these panels that we're looking at to give people like a sense of what we're seeing here. Because what is in the actual manga itself is a lot different than the cover, or at least a pretty decent amount different.
Yeah. I think as you'll find is with most things like this, when somebody starts off and then they draw
Evolution of style.
the style evolves, the art quality increases.
Fair enough.
Even if you have you guys ever read the original One Punch Man?
I have never known.
Because like you even see it there, even though like his art is nowhere near like the quality that what's his face produces. The current mangaka, is that what they're called?
I think so.
The current artist that is drawing the official production for One Punch Man, who is just like, just a godly gifted man.
Yeah.
But by the end of like what he's the monster.
I'm gonna apologize. I'm distracting Fluffy by scrolling through this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
By the end of the monster association arc, right? When he's drawing Goro, it's not Goro. It's Spiky Hair Boy.
The giant space. Is it Gyojo? I've seen the name. I've not read it. I could not be 100%, but I know who you're talking about.
But like the villain protagonist, the guy who's supposed sort of set up as like a foil for One Punch Man.
Only for you to learn that it's still One Punch Man.
Yeah. He like the way he draws him, like you can see that he's starting to really grasp how to like create forms, right? And like draw like human musculature, even though like he's literally just doing scribbles of like of this person. Yeah, it's the brother.
You weren't supposed to be looking over here.
But yeah,
oh yeah, this art definitely did evolve over time, didn't it?
I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was
fair.
Cool. But yeah.
Okay, quick question. Because I wasn't paying a lot of attention to everything going on, but I'm seeing this dad's reaction. Also, why does he have two mouths? Oh, no, he just has a really big nose. It looks like he has two mouths, though, doesn't it?
Close to it.
Like, it looks like this is a mouth, and he just has a weird, like, Amish beard. And then there's the other mouth in the beard. Is he, like, super supportive of her? Like, he's just, like, super happy with her? Is the mom a bitch?
There's no mom.
Okay, good. I fucking love that already.
Yeah, what'd you say?
I like
good.
Good. Like, yeah, no. Well,
no one likes moms.
Perfect, but he loves all of his children deeply and
Hell
cares
yeah.
for them.
I like that the immediate conflict you run into is not, hey, cute daughter. Hey, other cute daughter. Hey, cute daughter. Hey, eccentric son. Hey, ugh. Like, I'm glad that didn't happen. He seems very loving, and I love that for him. This art definitely evolved over time. Because like that's just weird little imp creature, not necessarily like ugly princess. That's a reptile person. This is, if you're listening to this, and we're back to the cursed princess thing. Imagine a person from the town of Innsmouth of Call of Cthulhu, like weird, off color skin, almost looks like a fish creature. Could be a fish creature thing. That is what this princess looks like.
It really does have Githyanki vibes, if you know what that is, but they don't have the pointy ears.
Githyanki, I know what that is.
It's a D&D race.
Okay.
That's why I said maybe the Baldur's Gate 3 reference.
Fair enough.
Or maybe
okay.
Voldemort or something.
A little bit.
She does have a
little bit.
Real big eyes, not a lot of nose there.
Kind of slit nose, yeah.
At least from that angle. I don't know.
There's a charm to her.
Mm-hmm.
And like the fact that she's apparently a pretty decent person. Like, it's definitely like you're never going to get like a truly ugly person in any kind of drawing medium unless you are really trying. But yeah, it definitely does better than like mangas that try to portray an ugly person or like any like Eastern media that tries to portray an quote unquote ugly person.
Yeah.
Because it's like your ugliest person here would win every beauty pageant contest ever. Like
the mob ugly MC that just looks like everybody else.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
They're ugly because they have a bowl cut.
Right. Like you're ugly because what's some other
freckles.
You have freckles, bowl cut, freckles. You're ugly because you keep your hair in a ponytail. You're ugly because
glasses.
Because glasses.
Gotta love freckles. Freckles are so cute.
Freckles are so fucking adorable. Do I want to put this weird thought out into the world and have this out there about myself? You know what? Yeah, fuck it. I've never been ashamed about this.
Say we put weird thoughts out there in the world already.
There's weird thoughts out there, and then there's like weird preferences. I find Vitiligo to be really attractive.
Oh yeah, it is.
It is like incredibly attractive to me. Vitiligo. So Vitiligo is
I wouldn't see it as ugly either. But like,
there's not seeing it as ugly, and then there's like having like a particular attraction to it.
Yeah, well, that's
not a fetish for it.
I was
like,
kind of wondering is like, because it's something that somebody might be distressed by, is it kind of like insensitive to be attracted to it?
That's why I was wondering if I should put this thought out into the world. Vitiligo,
hey, that thing you're most insecure about?
I think it's pretty hot. I think it's pretty fucking hot, actually. Vitiligo is a skin disease that causes hyperpigmentation. The joke.
Where it's like parts of the body are
like super dark
white,
or whatever.
And parts of the body are like
that.
There's a setting for it in Baldur's Gate 3.
No,
really?
I think it's
I know what you're
opposite.
talking about.
It's depigmentation, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
There's another.
There is a form of it that like some white vitiligo. Yeah, there's the form that like some white girls can get to where they're like just super dark patches of skin. I think it might be vitiligo. Either way, same difference.
We have a family. Family
There's
friend.
another webtoon that has a main character that has vitiligo.
Remember what it's called?
I don't remember, but it was pretty popular in the romance section. It was about like a Earth girl. I think if you just go to the romance section real quick, I think I can pick it out.
I'm gonna put it up on the big screen. Now that I actually need your attention. You said romance? Yeah. Right, chill, right in the middle. You said you had a family member?
We have family friends, yeah.
Down to earth.
Who have that going on.
Nice.
No, I don't know if it's a main character, but they very prominently features a character.
This dude or somebody else?
I think it was his ex-girlfriend.
Oh, we're not going to be able to, unless you can tell me an exact episode.
Like 2.
Oh, okay.
I had to stop reading this one.
Too intense?
Because I found the main love interest too attractive.
Fair enough. Green hair chick?
Yes. She has the pear shape.
Oh, come on, bro. Don't tell me that.
It's deadly.
Don't tell me that.
And I...
Wow, that was a whole aside. So we can find a girl with vitiligo. I don't even remember how we got on this fucking conversation. Oh yeah, weird. My weird attractions and
Polygeist.
yes. Oh man, y'all watching this will not know the fucking ordeal we had kind of halfway through this episode. Actually, more like 75% through this episode of shit just stopping and having to get that re-going again. So if the energy is all of a sudden very different, it's because it's very late and we're all very tired.
I'm always tired, actually.
You are always tired. You should. I figured the working out would have made that better. Actually, no, I don't think working out really makes a difference on that. It's eating healthier. More consistently.
It's supposed to boost your energy. And honestly, it has boosted my energy. So we're doing better now. This is our better version.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, the other thing with working out is you have to, if you're going to do it, you got to do that and rest enough. Otherwise,
Fair.
Which I generally do, actually, get enough rest. So.
Yeah. I believe it. 14 episodes in. Fastly approaching that first milestone.
Mm-hmm.
Edging ever closer to that 5-month mark. I think
5 months.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll end up watching this episode obviously when it drops, but we've had a friend of ours express interest in helping take on some of the load of video editing at some point. So this team might be growing sometime in the future.
Nice.
So that'll be really nice. But I've been having a lot of fun learning the editing process and kind of figuring out an editing style for this podcast. So I think I'm going to keep enjoying that for a little while longer before offloading the work onto somebody else. Or I might offload some different work onto other people. We'll see. Because creating shorts is annoying as fuck.
Mm.
That's actually a really annoying part of this process I don't like doing.
It don't surprise me, but it's the best way to get.
But it's the best way to get engagement, so I have to do it. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it probably will be fine. Once I really nail down a process, it'll probably actually be just fine.
Mm.
But yeah.
I told myself I'm not allowed to watch YouTube shorts anymore. So that way, every time I realize I'm watching YouTube shorts, I have an excuse to stop.
You building in an excuse to stop watching shorts. We're not done recording. What are you doing?
I thought we were done recording.
We could be done recording. You got to say goodbye first, though.
I don't know. I got the vibe, and bye-bye.
Well, Fluff says it's time for us to be done. So y'all have a great, fantastic night, and we will see y'all next week.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Oh yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun jazz on the social medias. Follow us on our TikTok, our Twitter, /X, and our Instagram. We don't really post much to Instagram yet, but we have one, so you should follow it.
Tell me what manga, webcomics.
Yeah, give this man more like recommendations of manga and webcomics to read.
I'm trying to pop my bubble, which I already do on a regular basis.
I was gonna say,
I love different, new, weird, wacky shit. So
yeah, give us some interesting, like, if y'all got weird, wacky questions y'all come across or just things you want us to discuss, go ahead and put that down in the comments. We like talking about shit. Clearly, we can talk about pretty much anything for extended periods of time, intentionally and unintentionally, but we like it. So y'all let us know what you want to hear, what y'all want to see more of.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to bed. Y'all have a good night.
Stay game.
Night-night.
Bye-bye.
What do you say?
You have weak blood, motherfucker. Did you not hear him?
I'm saying if you're going to be light-skinned, you might as well take a swig of sour cream.
There it is. Say it with your chest.